I do ecstasy.
So you don't pop perks, but you snort.
I sniffed the X before too. Okay. I do Xan sometimes, but.
So you over there, you getting something together?
This ain't about shit. It's something, just a little something. You gotta at least have a two. I'm gonna give y'all 2 minimum. I'm gonna start at 2 minimum, cause y'all know why I'm gonna start at 2 minimum. Now I'm just doing it for a tradition. I'm gonna start at 2 minimum, man.
What if I told you Lil Jeff's final moments weren't just caught on Instagram Live, but something way deeper just got out? Reports are saying there's actual audio of him on the ground, fighting to stay alive. And if what folks are saying is real, this flips the whole story upside down, especially when it comes to the people who were supposed to have his back. Lil Jeff was kicking it with people he trusted that night. But now, those same people are right in the middle of the mess surrounding how he died. And once you start digging into the details, it only gets shadier. This is one of the wildest stories coming out of Chicago right now, and no one saw this next part coming. We're talking about Lil Jeff's last audio ever. His name been all over the blogs for months now, and just when it looked like the buzz was fading, boom, another twist hit the net. His final post showed up again, and fans caught something weird, something that might actually explain how he got caught slipping on a drill. His last social media post showed him chilling in the car, vibing with one of his boys, just regular stuff. But in the comments, people spotted something wild. Jeff didn't look or act like himself at all. He went out like a gangster. This is exactly how you dream of going out if you in that life.
Put y'all shorty in a trunk and set it on fire. Y'all look ain't that bad. I ain't got pissed out like that yet. Hey, burnt this hell. Shit will start happening, and y'all know this by now. I went black for like a week, and poof. Gotta go after that one. Poof. I came back. Poof. Won't let them stuff.
That's what one person said. He died the next morning. He just changed clothes, another wrote. One fan even said, Jeff seemed off this night. Must have knew it was over. Something was definitely off that night. Later that same night, Lil Jeff posted a photo on his Instagram with the caption, "One of my fav ops on life support. I pray he don't make it before I go to sleep." That post set off alarms. And in the comments, one fan dropped something that really made people stop and think. If you've seen his live last night, you'll see he's fried and don't give the truth? Lil Jeff was deep in that lifestyle. His struggle with drugs wasn't just whispers, it was out in the open. During his interview on DJU TV just 10 minutes in, he stunned everyone by openly using on camera. No shame, no filter. Jeff even admitted he was hooked on all kinds of stuff, from ecstasy to Xanax, heavy-hitting stuff.
I do ecstasy.
So you don't pop perks, but you snort.
I sniffed the X before too. Okay. I do Xan sometimes, but up on my memory, so
that shit make yo go, bro.
I be out chill on that sometimes.
And the crew around him, same deal. Vert and Q50, the two guys always in the background, were right there with him.
So you over there, you getting something together?
This ain't about shit. It's something, just a little something. I ain't got paid no attention.
We ain't never seen that on DJU TV before.
Oh, man, there's a lot of shit I ain't never seen.
Q50 even went on Instagram flexing about how he drops over $500 a day on perks.
But I'm spending like probably $400 a day, literally.
Not to be outdone, Vert once said in an interview that he drops around $400 daily on his stash. Vert's so out of it, he's been caught knocked out mid-interview, straight up asleep while the cameras were rolling. Now there's a rumor floating around that the day Jeff passed, they were all off something heavy, and nobody knows for sure what really went down that night. From Lil Jeff feeling untouchable to Q50 tripping and falling like some straight up clown, man, everything was a mess from the jump. Even Jeff's alleged killer couldn't help but clown them online. He went off on Instagram calling out the Bloodhounds for being a bunch of junkies, saying, "Why would I want to hang out with Vert? That's a shorty and a goofy. I'm from Trady, not 79, not Bloodhound. What am I doing hanging with you and the perk sniffing crew? Dumb lil boy." And honestly, Maybe the fans got a point. If Jeff wasn't popped full of them pills, he might still be here today. But let's talk about Lil Jeff's alleged killer for a second, Trady Rob. Dude's been blowing up on the internet lately as some wild reports dropped on Reddit showing that Trady Rob had his charges downgraded. He went from facing first-degree murder to just a gun charge. Another post said that Trap City Rob first got bagged because a witness put him right at the scene when Jeff got hit.
They say his dad from down here, Big J or something like that? Big Jeff?
Yeah. Anybody got a...
So his daddy is from down here?
Yeah, fuck used to hang with them, they know what they did.
So, okay.
They know what they did.
So, okay, the Bloodhounds, y'all was cool.
Everybody that got a...
That was my homie.
But after digging deeper, the Chicago PD couldn't prove he actually pulled the trigger, so they dropped the murder case and just hit him with a gun case instead.
Where the Jay, he come back like he got into a high school, he was 12, lying, saying he lost it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's how motherfuckers broke their little shit. You know what?
And it gets crazier. Some leaked photos of Trady Rob popped up on Reddit too, showing him looking solid and in high spirits. His fans, they went wild with relief. Trady Rob's built up a whole fan base so strong, they even made a subreddit just for him called Trady UNC Gang.
I ain't gonna lie, Reddit be tweaking. They got his own, look, they got a group called Trap City Gang.
Right.
That's the group, just the group.
Right.
Gang, and his picture's on there, and then they got, look, it say 1,000, the members in there, it say 1,738 nephews.
With over 2,500 members already repping his name. Even with all the love he's getting, Trap City Rob has had to step in and tell Reddit users to cut it out with the fake info just for clout.
Man, I just feel like they bogus, man. Whoever started that, man, please stop doing stuff like that. Like, for real, it's like real life, though, you know? So, it's not no video game. It's not no movie, you know what I'm saying? It's reality.
He's not here for the false stories people are pushing to chase clicks. Yeah, some Redditors might have twisted a few facts, but they also hit the nail on the head about a lot of other things, especially when it comes to how this whole beef even got started. One post claimed the war between Trap City and the Bloodhounds kicked off when Lil Jeff snatched Trap City Carter's chain, and guess what? That part's actually true. Trap City. Rob himself broke it down. He said Lil Jeff used to be tight with their circle, but everything went left after that chain situation. According to Rob, one of his guys let Jeff rock the chain for a bit, but Jeff never gave it back. He told them he ran into cops and lost it during some heat, but nobody was buying that excuse. That one chain, it kicked off a chain of events that would leave dozens of young lives lost across Chicago, including one of Lil Jeff's closest boys, Lil Scum. His death shook the streets. Just 1 month after Lil Jeff got gunned down, another rising rapper and known shooter was taken out. This time, it was Lil Scum. It all went down on June 7th in Chatham near 89th Place in Langley Avenue just before midnight.
I told you I don't know key. I take this all the time, bro. I don't have no keys. Like, is you so?
Lil Scum, real name Assyrian Hogan, and his 16-year-old homie, Lil Will, got into it with somebody. What started as words turned serious real fast. The argument heated up, threats were thrown out, and before anyone could blink, shots rang out. When the smoke cleared, Lil Scum was on the ground. His boy was hit too, but survived. Paramedics rushed Scum to the University of Chicago Medical Center, but it was already too late. He didn't pull through. As if that wasn't wild enough, police caught sight of someone running from the scene. A foot chase kicked off, and during that, shots were fired at officers. That triggered a huge response. CPD, SWAT, and multiple districts got called in. But even with all that backup, the suspect managed to slip away in the chaos. Lil Scum's label later dropped a statement saying, "It is with great sadness that we share the loss of our artist Lil Scum. A true creative, Scum's passion for music was clear in his constant stream of songs and videos. His talent, vision, and quiet drive made him one of a kind and an inspiration to many. We'll miss him deeply. Our thoughts are with his family." Turns out, Lil Scum didn't just get caught slipping. He got set up. and the streets are saying it was by a girl named Nina Brooks.
How did you and Nene fall out?
So really the Scum stuff, like, it wasn't no, like, after I found out it was really her, it really wasn't.
So you believe it really was her that backdoored him, set him up?
Folks even started dropping alleged DMs showing Nina basically admitting she backdoored the Bloodhound rapper. And Lil Scum's people, they weren't letting it slide. Von from 1700 straight up called her and threatened her, saying, "I just called in, talking about I don't know why you calling my phone. We killing you, that's why." Word is, Scum was just trying to get his hair braided at his girl's spot, not knowing the setup was already in motion. The place, his girlfriend Journey's crib, and the girl doing his hair, also Journey. But Nina, she was the one pulling strings in the background. In one of the leaked DMs, one of the alleged shooters hit Nina up, asking if Scum was at the house and told her, "Don't let nobody know you texting me." Nina didn't just give up the location, she was out here updating his ops in real time on everything he was doing. Then came the footage. It leaked and showed Scum, Lil Will, Journey, and Nina all walking up to the house. And what was Nina doing? Lagging behind the group, head down in her phone, texting like crazy. People think she was feeding live updates to Scum's enemies the whole time. At first, when the clip hit the net, everyone thought Journey was the one who set Scum up. She looked super nervous in the video and didn't even have the keys to her own house, which had folks thinking something was off. But as more pieces came out, eyes turned straight to Nina. And the betrayal? It was deeper than anyone imagined. According to Trench's News, people started calling Journey the Black Widow. The twist? She had already lost a boyfriend before all this went down. That just added more fuel to the fire. But then it got even wilder. Lil Scum's girl later went on DJ UTV and claimed that it was Nina, not Journey, who really backdoored her man. Once that bombshell dropped, Scum's crew wasn't playing around. His people started tracking Nina, and Von from 1700 even posted her location and phone number online. That's when things got ugly. Folks started trolling her hard, making fake obituary flyers with her face on them and flooding her with death threats.
Tell us around what age did you jump off the porch?
13, some shit like that. 13, 14, regular age, man. I've been bad as hell, though.
It was getting way too real. Her family knew it wasn't safe anymore, so they moved fast. Just hours later, Nina hopped on a flight and got out of Chicago, posting that she was never coming back. That was her exit move. But the wildest detail came straight from Scum's girl. While she was doing his hair, she said Nina dipped into the bathroom, locked the door, and was allegedly still texting and coordinating with the shooters from inside the crib. That means the whole setup was going down right under their noses and nobody even saw it coming. Time kept ticking and Journey started getting nervous. She hit up Nina, texting to see if she was good. Nina coldly replied saying she just didn't feel like talking. But the whole time, she was out there doing the unthinkable behind their backs. As Lil Scum and Lil Will were walking out of the house, the shooters were already posted up outside, ready to strike.
He stole the chain, bro. We tried like he took it. He stole my own chain.
Was that South Jay or something?
Nah, brother. One of the other guys.
So around what age did you jump off the porch and start hanging out in the streets?
I'm saying when I came outside for real, I was like 18.
So can you tell us like who introduced you to the street life?
My brother.
Your older brother, right?
Yeah.
Lil Will barely made it out alive, but Scum, he wasn't so lucky. And everybody knew it was only a matter of time before Lil Jeff's crew got their get back for both him and Scum. It kicked off with a cryptic post from Q50. He wrote, "Damn folks, my big brother, my twin, my other half. Just like you said though, this shit wasn't gonna do nothing but make me worse. I'm done crying though. I'm just finna do what you told me too soon." Real ones knew exactly what that meant. Payback was coming. Even Lil Jeff's own parents weren't staying quiet. His father took to Facebook, sending straight up warnings to his son's enemies. He made it loud and clear. Jeff didn't just get caught. He was sliding on his ops first, and things popped off from there. "Let it be known, y'all didn't get him. He came trying to get y'all, and what happened, happened," he wrote. But what's really crazy? While Jeff was still alive, his own mom was encouraging him to stay deep in the streets.
Scum was backdoored is clear as day. Everybody want to talk about this girl Nene and that Nene was on her phone and all that. That's cool now. Y'all saying that Nene, that's cool. But let's talk about Journey. Let's talk about Journey White. Let's talk about this Journey girl. This girl is a black widow. She already got a boyfriend that's DOA. That's DOA.
A now infamous screenshot made rounds online showing a convo between Jeff and his mom where she proudly gassed him up. "Go ahead, son. Your name ringing bells in the streets," she wrote, hyping up his reputation for sliding. In another message, she added, "I love it, sliding on them. Slept in the bed with you." This wasn't some heartbroken mom begging her son to leave the streets. Nah, this was a full-blown cosign of Lil Jeff's street life. And Jeff, he was proud of it. He posted the screenshot with the caption, "All I gotta say is she watched me work that 60 woo to him." His mom's approval wasn't just love. It was motivation to keep sliding on his rivals. And before long, the Bloodhounds locked in on their first target, Trap City Carter. On October 20th, 2024, word hit the news. Another man had lost his life in Chicago. The night before, shots rang out in the city's Oakland neighborhood. When the smoke cleared, a man was left bleeding out on the pavement, his life slipping away fast. It happened around 8:41 p.m. on South Ellis Avenue, a block that's no stranger to street wars. Witnesses told cops that two men rolled up on their target, pulled out straps, and let off shots without saying a word. The 31-year-old victim didn't stand a chance. Just like that, the shooters jumped in a white whip and vanished into the night. Paramedics got there quick and rushed the victim to the University of Chicago Medical Center, but it was already too late. The man had taken multiple shots to the chest and lost way too much blood. Doctors tried everything, but he was pronounced dead shortly after arriving. Later, the medical examiner confirmed what the streets already feared. The victim was Chevelle Carter. Lil Jeff's people weren't even trying to hide it. They were celebrating Carter's death. As soon as word hit the streets, they jumped online, dropping cryptic messages just like Jeff used to do. And these posts, they all pointed to one thing. Carter's murder was revenge for what happened to Lil Jeff. Q51, one of Jeff's closest boys, went straight to Instagram and let it be known. He posted a pic with 3 blunts along with a message that had the streets buzzing. Lil Scum, Lil G Boo, and feet kicked up. Now I can get rich. I love and miss y'all. That alone was heavy, but he didn't stop there. In the caption, he added, "P.S. It ain't over." And he meant that, because this wasn't the end. It was just the next chapter in a war that was spiraling out of control. A few days later, things took an even darker turn. And this time, the person who lost their life wasn't even in the streets. On November 2nd, what should have been a peaceful goodbye at Trady Carter's funeral turned into yet another tragic scene. A woman, his sister, was killed during the funeral procession in South suburban Dixmoor. She had come out to mourn, to grieve, to say goodbye to someone she loved. But instead, she became another victim of a war she had nothing to do with. At exactly 12:01 p.m., police in Dixmoor got a call. Shots had been fired near 147th Street and Sealy Avenue. A white Jaguar SUV, part of the procession, had crashed into a house. But the crash wasn't the real tragedy. It's what cops found inside the car that hit different. Behind the wheel was a 34-year-old woman slumped over, shot multiple times. She was just trying to drive in her brother's funeral procession, making her way from St. Mark's Church in Harvey when bullets started flying. The same streets that were supposed to carry her brother to his final resting place ended up claiming her life, too. Paramedics rushed her to UChicago Medicine, Ingalls Memorial Hospital in Harvey, fighting to save her. But it was no use. The injuries were too severe. She was pronounced dead shortly after arriving. Authorities later confirmed her identity as Ray Turner, a resident of Calumet Park and Trady Carter's sister. For Lil Jeff's people, no one was off limits. In their eyes, revenge was revenge, no matter who got caught in the middle. And things might be heating up even more because Lil Jeff's brother just got released from prison months after Jeff was killed. But here's the twist. The dudes responsible for Jeff's death? They used to be his brother's own people. No beef, no bad blood, just cold street rules. Even Trap City was confused by it all. They didn't have any issues with Jay Boogie, Jeff's brother, but they knew how the streets worked. Once war starts, there's no clean lines. In a vlog featuring OTF Black and Trap City affiliates Taro and Rob, OTF Black even dropped a gem. He said he was locked up with Jay Boogie's dad and that Jay Boogie grew up under the Black Disciples. He was cool with Trap City back then, at least. According to Trady Rob, Jay Boogie is still repping Trady, but the street's been watching close. When word got out that Jay Boogie was coming home 2 years early, everybody was on edge, waiting to see what side he'd claim. Would he go back to the Bloodhounds, the crew he helped build from the jump? Or would he ride with his childhood homies from Trady? Well, he made his choice loud and clear. Not long after getting out, Jay Boogie hit IG Live, doing all the usual Bloodhound antics, snorting drugs on camera with Q50, wilding out like he never left. It wasn't just for show either. In his very first interview since coming home on DJ UTV, Jay Boogie confirmed it himself. He and Q50 are still locked in tight, no switching sides. The pressure on Jay Boogie to slide for Lil Jeff isn't just coming from the internet or the Bloodhounds, it might be coming from inside him too. See, what most people don't realize is that Jay Boogie might secretly carry guilt over his lil bro's death. And the reason? It's deeper than you'd expect. During his interview on DJ UTV, Jay Boogie admitted he jumped off the porch when he was just 13 years old. And the wild part? He was the one who introduced Lil Jeff to the street life in the first place. That's something that's hard to shake. So while everyone's talking about revenge plans, Jay might be stuck fighting a battle inside his own head. But all that aside, the internet's been saying something wild. Lil Jeff's death was a blessing in disguise. As cold as it sounds, some folks believe he did more harm than good while he was alive. From harassing the homeless to bragging online about catching bodies, Lil Jeff had a rep as a full-blown menace in the streets of Chicago. They called him Lil Jeff the Savage, and he wore that name with pride. For people who didn't know who he was, some of his posts might just look like typical internet clout chasing, but for those who did know, his cryptic captions carried real weight. One message in particular was a direct shot at his rivals. It was a warning that if they slipped up, they'd end up like Monty and Lil Rob. For those watching closely, Lil Jeff's message was loud and clear and impossible to ignore. Internet detectives started connecting the dots, and what they uncovered was chilling. The deaths of Monty and Lil Rob weren't just random cases of street violence. For years, whispers said Lil Jeff either put the hit out or handled it himself. And the way he moved after only made the rumors stronger. From cryptic captions to full-blown flexes in his music, Jeff didn't just hint, he almost bragged. He made sure the streets, and especially his rivals, knew that he had 2 bodies under his belt, and he never let them forget it. The bodies in question, Robert Boston, known as Lil Rob, and Monty Williams, aka Monty. It all went down on Friday, January 26, 2024, right near Innovations High School, a charter school in downtown Chicago. At exactly 12:30 p.m., chaos exploded. 2 cars came flying toward the Washington train station, just blocks from the school. They pulled up, masked shooters jumped out, guns blazing. They weren't aiming at just anybody. They came straight for Monty and Lil Rob. The whole hit was precise and ruthless. Within seconds, the shooters got back in their whips and sped off, leaving Monty and Rob bleeding out on the pavement. It all happened in front of classmates, high above the street, watching in shock. One person standing on the nearby train platform caught the aftermath on camera. The video, graphic and heartbreaking, showed 2 young lives slipping away. It would later go viral, turning into a harsh reminder of how deep this gang war had gotten. Emergency crews rushed in trying to save them, but by the time they got there, it was too late. Monty and Lil Rob were gone. Monty and Lil Rob were rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, but the outcome was already written. Doctors couldn't do anything. Both teens were pronounced dead on arrival. The city was shaken, but Lil Jeff, he didn't mourn, and he definitely didn't stay quiet. Instead, he doubled down, dropping cryptic messages like soon and constantly throwing up the number 2 on social media every chance he got. He wasn't hiding what happened. He was owning it. In his music, He got even bolder, spitting lyrics that left almost nothing to the imagination. And then came the tattoo. Jeff had 10 teardrops inked on his face, but internet detectives pointed out something wild. 2 of those teardrops were connected. Word on the net, that was his way of saying he took 2 lives in the same drill. The caption that came with it, "If you know, you know. If you don't, you will." To Jeff, this wasn't some tragic moment. It was just another play in the trenches, a twisted game where only the coldest survive. But there's more. In another post, Jeff dropped an image with 10 hat emojis, and fans knew it wasn't about graduation. What had people really talking were 2 graduation caps mixed in with the others. According to internet sleuths, that was Jeff flexing on how young his victims were, hinting that 2 of them were still in school when he caught them. Those 2 graduation cap emojis, they weren't random. They symbolized Monty and Lil Rob, the 2 high school teens whose lives were cut short. But after Lil Jeff's death, all the speculation about whether he was really behind it got confirmed. Cops eventually connected the dots, using everything from social media posts and phone records to auto theft reports and hours of surveillance footage. And when the pieces came together, it was clear.
I'm taking niggas to killing school. Class start next week. You gotta at least have 2 bodies though. For I ain't coming with no. If you ain't got can't work with no beginners.
Lil Jeff was one of the 3 shooters involved in that double murder. But even after being tied to a hit like that, Jeff didn't slow down, not even a little. Instead, he kept mocking the dead, using his platform to clown his fallen rivals. And one of the most disturbing examples, the case of Connie Smith, a 15-year-old whose murder shook the entire city. This wasn't your average shooting, it was pure horror. Connie wasn't just killed, he was burned alive. His murder sent shockwaves through Chicago, not just because of how brutal it was, but because it felt like a message, a warning to anyone thinking about stepping the wrong way. But to Lil Jeff, it was just another moment to diss. He hit Instagram and posted some infamous comments about the tragedy, turning someone's worst moment into content. It all happened on December 15th, 2023. At around 2 a.m., Chicago police and fire crews were called to an alley after reports of a car fully engulfed in flames. Firefighters worked to put it out, thinking it was just another stolen vehicle dumped and torched, until they opened the trunk. What they found inside was straight-up nightmare fuel. It was Connie Smith's burned body, charred, unrecognizable. He was just 15. And while most of the city was left stunned by the level of cruelty, Lil Jeff was online laughing, throwing shade, and daring his ops to say something. The charred remains found in that trunk, they belonged to a teenage boy, burned so badly he was unrecognizable. Forensic investigators later confirmed it was Connie Smith, just 15 years old, who had gotten caught up in the violent world of Chicago's streets. The medical examiner's report revealed something even darker. Connie wasn't just burned alive like some originally feared. No, he had already been shot multiple times with bullets in his neck and chest before his body was stuffed into the trunk of a stolen car, drenched in gasoline, and set on fire. This wasn't some reckless act. It was a cold-blooded execution. And what did Lil Jeff do? Instead of showing an ounce of humanity, he went online and mocked the entire thing, laughing, cracking jokes, and clowning the death of a teenage boy. It showed just how deep he was in, numb to the violence, completely desensitized to the lives being lost around him. But it didn't stop there. Jeff had gotten so used to the madness, he didn't even blink when women were involved. That's where the shocking double murder of 2 gang-affiliated individuals, 25-year-old McGee, aka D-Money, and 19-year-old Lil Deuce, comes in. Their deaths shook the drill scene, and guess whose name kept surfacing in the online rumors? Lil Jeff. People started piecing it together when Jeff, like always, just couldn't keep his mouth shut. After the murders, he dropped subtle messages and cryptic posts that made it clear he wanted people to know something. It all went down in the early morning hours of November 1st, 2023. D-Money and Lil Deuce were just sitting inside a parked car on the 8300 block of South Dorchester Avenue. And in a flash, the streets got even bloodier. It was supposed to be just another night surviving in the trenches, but in a blink, everything flipped upside down. According to an eyewitness, 2 figures crept up on the parked car. Before D-Money or Lil Deuce could even react, the gunmen unloaded a hail of bullets into the vehicle. Then, just like that, the shooters vanished into the night, quick, silent, and ruthless. This wasn't sloppy. It was a clean hit, planned and executed with precision. Lil Deuce caught several bullets straight to the chest. Paramedics rushed him to the University of Chicago Medical Center, but it was no use. He was pronounced dead on arrival. D-Money wasn't any luckier. She suffered a gunshot wound to her torso. She too was rushed to the same hospital fighting for her life, but not for long. She succumbed to her injuries shortly after. And once the streets caught wind of what happened, all eyes turned to Lil Jeff because once again, Jeff just couldn't stay silent. Right after news of the double murder broke, he hit social media, dropping cryptic messages that felt way too close to confessions. He posted a bunch of hat emojis, the classic symbol for body count flexing. But this time, people noticed something crazy. One of the hats was a woman's hat. A slick but chilling nod many believed was directed at D-Money. It takes a whole different level of crazy to pull a gun on a homeless man, record it, and post it online like it's funny. But for Lil Jeff, nothing was off limits. He really did that. A video making rounds on the internet shows Lil Jeff having a wild, controversial moment with a homeless dude out on the street. At first, it almost seemed like Jeff was about to show some love, maybe hand out some cash, give back to the block or something. But out of nowhere, Jeff pulled out his blick and started threatening the man, totally unprovoked. Then, like it was some kind of sick joke, Jeff switched up and told the homeless guy he was just playing, laughing it off like waving a gun at someone struggling to survive was normal behavior. Lil Jeff wasn't just a problem, he was a menace in Chicago. And while his friends and family cried over his death, a lot of people in the city were celebrating. For some, they saw his downfall as karma catching up. Maybe, just maybe, if he hadn't fallen so deep into drugs and the street life, things could have turned out different. If you made it this far and you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to smash that like button, drop a comment telling me what you think about Lil Jeff's story, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. See you on the next one.